So how are COVID and isolation influencing your spiritual journey tonight? And that's what I wanted to bring forward and talk about because, when it first happened, it was like, no big deal. But now we're, 14 months into, 13 months, almost 14 months into this isolation. And this one seems to be longer and bigger and variants. And, when you ask people about COVID, people are starting to get snarly and snaky. So I know myself, my own, if it wasn't for Zoom and all these lovely meetings, I would probably be just a little bit next to bent. So during this spiritual journey, and because we're dealing with such a challenging time, we're being asked to stay at home. We're being asked to not see our friends. We're being asked to miss out on family events. Weddings are now the bride and the groom and, their bubble. It's getting really hard. It's getting really challenging. And actually, just before we carry on, can I get everybody to mute? Somebody's got some background noise going on. Thank you. So how is it in these times of this challenge? Stay home, don't go anywhere. Don't touch your neighbors, don't hug your people, don't share a meal. All the things that we've always considered to be part of our healthy spiritual life is our social life. So how are you deepening your spiritual practice during this isolation, not insulation? Or some of the questions I'd love to hear, discussion that I would love to hear is like, how are you deepening your spiritual practice? For instance, last night I attended a full moon ceremony. It was outside. 2 of us had dinner together before, but we live in the same house. Then we joined some other people. A lot of them were not keeping socially distanced, but they were all new people to me. So I namaste, 6 feet away, and we had a great time just really connecting with other people who think the same. But it's also now I was really made sure that I did not come in close contact with anybody I did not know before. And so it was a little bit of a relief, but the whole time, although we were hidden in a bush where I've never even seen a police officer on this road, let alone where we were, and we had a fire and all that kind of thing. There was still that that little possibility of what if, right? Because we were more than whatever is allowed right now. I can't even keep track of the rules. I mean, I can't keep track of the rules at the best of times, but right now they seem to be changing by the minute. So how are you coping? What are you doing to keep alive your mindset, your great thing? And then the other thing is, how much time are we spending socializing virtually to stay connected? Zoom fatigue is a real thing. How is it affecting you? How is it that, especially when you come from a community-based things such as Awakening Spirituality or whatever your other community was before COVID, that was a big part of your mental health and your ability to stay connected. How did that change for you during this COVID time? I was reading the headline somewhere today, and it's really funny because I'm usually an empath, but this woman went to India for her father's funeral and now is whining because she cannot come back to Canada. And a big part of me is, so you didn't follow the rules. I can't go see my mother, whose birthday is next week. So you want me to have empathy for you because you can't get back into the country because you not disobeyed the rules, but you completely ignored all of the safety caution and features that we have in place to stay safe. But does safe mean sane? And what are you doing? How are you doing it? How are you coping with all the things you can't do? So those are some of the questions I'd love to hear answers to when you break out into the room. So, and I got people in front of my little thing here. So how has your mindset changed during loneliness and social isolation? can you spend more time with your family? Are you trying to? I live alone. So I'm really lucky that because of the rules, I get one bubble house, and that tends to be my grandson's. So, but that's it, right? I'm not supposed to spend time with other people, and it's really challenging. I mean, I'm a social creature, and if I spent 3 days completely isolated and not talking to anybody, I don't know where my mindset would be. It would take a lot of work to keep it in the joy and the love and the spiritual connection. I know, mind you, there's an oxymoron for you, because when I went looking for pictures to put up for spiritual isolation or spirituality, half of them are people sitting, in lotus position at the top of a mountain. That is totally and completely social isolation. So has it helped you grow? I know in some cases it has helped me to grow, because as much as I love Zoom meetings and connecting with people, I can't sit on the computer all day. Well, I could watch TV all day, but I couldn't sit here, be in a Zoom meeting all day. I mean, I've done it a few times for work meetings and stuff. And by the end of the day, I think I've worked harder at that than anything I've ever done in my life. Excuse me. And also, Zoom is one way of keeping in touch with people. So how are you keeping your social connections with technology? There's phones, there's Zoom, there's laptops, there's distance walking. And it's, but have you ever watched a group when they get together, they're going, okay, we're going to do the masks, we're going to do the 6 feet away. And just naturally people start gravitating towards each other, because we're so accustomed to being a society of connection. And this is really, really can play on your mind. Actually, I almost lost down a rabbit hole, because there was I don't know how many articles on the effects of loneliness and social isolation. Especially, a lot of studies were done before COVID happened, because our elderly, and I mean, I'm getting to be one of the elderly, we tend to, if we live alone and we don't have family close by, or if our children are busy raising their children, mom and dad don't have much time. There's that old joke, the husband and wife are sitting down talking, and he says, yeah, I called the kids, told them we're getting divorced. And she said, great, that takes care of Thanksgiving. Now what are we going to do for Christmas? And it's so true. We all get wrapped up in our own lives. But right now, everybody's had to slow down. So I talk to my children on the phone more than I ever have before, because I can't go see them. I mean, my daughter lives abroad, so I haven't seen her in a year and a half. And I went looking for a ticket just before Ford announced his little thing, and they're really dirt cheap. But I can't travel right now, and there's no refund on the policy. So, now I'm playing, I think it's people, sorry, I'm just letting people into the room here. Close that. Excuse me. Trying to go back to normal, which is, that's okay. Trying to go back to what was normal for me. I mean, my daughter moved to Germany in 2008, and every year since, she's come home once a year, and I've gone there once a year. And now we are approaching the 18, 19 months since I've actually been able to hug my kid. And that, has one mindset. But then when I do, thank God for technology, we Zoom or we WhatsApp, we have a family WhatsApp. So I really like to, when we come back from our breakout rooms, I'd love to hear what it is you're doing to stay in touch with those that you want to be in touch with. Change. And another important part of all of this is, let's get physical. Let's get physical, that little Olivia Newton-John song. I won't sing it to you because I won't hurt your ears that way. But how are you out there daily doing something that is good for your soul, good for your heart, good for your mental state? Are you getting out every day? Are you trying to, well, especially now that winter's almost gone. We had some snowflakes last week, but I think we're going to hit double digits temperature wise from now on. So are you getting out there? Are you gardening, which seems to be the craze last year, and I'm sure it's going to carry on into summer? Are you taking a bicycle ride? Are you staying safe while still doing something to create an activity? And the reason I said movement is because I'm not a big, heavy physical person, but if I don't get outside and stroll around every day for, even if it's 5 minutes, get out there and do something. So how are you maintaining that physical and mental alertness so that when we don't have to isolate, you know, I want to run and hug my friends when I see them now, even though when you see them, you know, like I hit Zoom hug. And I know early on in the thing, meeting up with my son and his boys, for a few minutes, it was with the promise that they weren't going to hug me. And I was really good, but it's really hard. At the time, Ben was only 3 and he wanted to hug, right? And I went, oh, baby, Nana can't. But let's play shadow hugs. So we were running around the parking lot, hugging each other's shadows, right? So, you know, to the 3-year-old, it was just as good. And to me, it felt better than nothing at all. And it was fun. So what other outdoor activities can you do excuse me, but still follow all the guidance of social distancing? And I noticed that as the weather warms up, people are standing closer and closer together. I think we're starting to believe that we're not going to get it yet. You know, we've got new variants and all of those other kinds of things. I don't want to go down the COVID rabbit hole. I want to stay in mindset. And lastly, social contact is a key component of your spiritual health. When I saw this picture, I knew I had to have it in my presentation. I saw it before I started the presentation, so I was really inspired by these 2 friends just totally enjoying each other's company. And you can see the love shining on the man in gray, watching his friend do something that he loves. So I think the COVID has shown us how important social contact is in our lives. I find people are friendlier. Like if you're standing in line to wait to go to the grocery store, 6 feet, my voice can still carry. Especially even through a mask, I'm loud enough that people can hear me. And it's interesting to see different reactions, or when you recognize somebody just by their eyes. That is, to me, one of the most interesting and challenging things. You can't recognize your friends instantly the way you could when they don't have a mask, yet people are smiling or, well, saying hello more often because they're not 100% sure who's behind that mask. So they don't want to miss out on saying hello to a friend. So I'm finding people friendlier and smilier and willing to talk more. I mean, maybe your only outing for the week, the month, is the grocery store. So I just talk to everybody, make sure I say hello. So while you go off into the breaking rooms, I would like you to discuss some of what we just talked about. I would love to hear your answers. And I also want to know what is keeping you sane in this insane time. And speaking of the 2 little monkeys that keep me sane, there they are in this photo. So that's Ben is the blondie and Sam is the brunette. And we have a lot of fun. They were here on Sunday because their dad was helping me do something. And we played in the house, and I have a magic wand. It's a beautiful little crystal with a moonstone at the end. And I've always told the boys it's a magic wand. And Sam is my 6-year-old cynic. And he said, magic doesn't work. He goes, look, Nana's a chicken. So of course I had to go around the room like, quack, 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 quack. And we just had a ball. So they would turn me from a chicken to a dinosaur to a zombie to back to Nana. And that was how I stayed sane, knowing that that I get to spend some time with them because I am conscious about wherever else I go. So while you're talking amongst yourselves, please share one thing that's your sanity practice. Do you know what your triggers are, and how do you pull yourself back out of a trigger, like a downward spiral? If I get them, then I make sure that I try and stop it in its tracks, because if I continue down that rabbit hole, it's harder and harder to come back out of. So I really try, and the minute I am a little bit down about something, connect with somebody, phone somebody who you know is going to make you laugh, or tell you that, if you need to vent, then phone somebody who will listen. If you need to laugh because you're on a spiral down, then find somebody who can crack a joke. Then who are you going to call? Corona Busters. Sorry, I'm showing my age here with Ghostbusters and all. And then when all of this insanity, and they say, okay, we have control of this virus, it is still going to hurt some people, because you're never going to vaccinate 100% of the people. We are never going to eradicate any bug, because they keep coming back stronger. So when we get to go wherever we please, where's the first place you're going to go? And the other fun thing is, have you created a new hobby in this time? So what are the things that you are helping your mindset with? Staying in that up, that connection to spirituality. When we stay up, when we stay elevated in our minds and our hearts, our spirituality also benefits from that. And who would you break the rules for? And that's why that picture of those two monkeys are there. But I don't break too many rules because of them. I mean, I break every other rule in the book, except maybe this one, because I plan on being able to see those two munchkins as much as I can. So that is the end of my PowerPoint.